It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shamans worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.
Welcome to the Imagine More Success radio show. It's the All About You show with successful entrepreneurs and business experts sharing their stories and powerful takeaways while providing you with the tips, tools, tactics, and a free weekly gift to help you thrive. Your hosts for the Imagine More Success radio show are the best-selling authors Cindy Hendricks, who is a certified business consultant, and Thomas Hides, a certified world-class public speaking coach. Check out the Imagine More Success radio show at imaginemoresuccess.net. because now's the time for you to realize your dreams and to imagine more success. Hey, thank you for joining us this week. We're so happy you can be with us. We hope that you're having a fantastic week and enjoying the opportunity to move from a place of stagnation into a place of extreme growth, feeling better, feeling happy, feeling optimistic about the future. Cindy, we've been having a really great run of shows, since we've come back from our little hiatus, and I think today is going to be another really great show for the listeners. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think the timing is perfect.
I know a lot of people, when they kind of hear the topic that we're going to be talking about today, they may have some preconceived ideas about what it really means. Our topic today is really about turning your passion and your purpose into profits. And it's probably a concept that you've been familiar with, if you heard. We're going to hear a little different spin on it today and have some really great breakthroughs for you in the audience today. So, if you take a look at any business venture, any sort of big endeavor that you take on in life, there's always an inner and an outer game of business. And today we're going to spend a little bit of time on both the inner and the outer game, which is something that both Cindy and I enjoy learning about and sharing with you guys as well. So without further ado, we want to go ahead and tell you a little bit about our guest today. Today's guest is Michelle Guarjardo. She is the founder and CEO of the Conscious Library. Michelle is a teacher, a coach, and an intuitive mentor for spiritual women entrepreneurs. And I think that's a really cool niche market for her to be in, where she works with people who are deeply spiritual. She uses the principles of universal laws, mindset, and entrepreneurial acumen as she is going through her mission, which she has a really big mission. She actually wants to help 3+ million women throughout the world by the ripple effect to really help create more spiritual entrepreneurs and help people like you really regain the freedom and the lifestyle that you dream of. And so we want to go ahead and welcome her to the show. Michelle Guarjardo, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Thomas. And Cindy, I'm excited to be here today.
Yes, welcome, Michelle. And boy, oh boy, does the world need you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's quite a few people I know that are having kind of a rough time right now, but there's also a lot of people who are having some breakthroughs. And you shared a little bit of a story with me that I found fascinating about someone named Sally. If you would tell us a little bit about Sally.
Yeah, so Sally came to me at the first of the year as a one-on-one client, and she was looking for some help with trying to create a course or a program to help parents and students with learning disabilities. And she just didn't know where to go from there. She felt like she wasn't enough, and she felt like she was kind of stuck. And, then the whole self-worth and being enough kind of kicked in. And so, that's kind of how we started with working with her.
Well, you have to fill up your own cup before you can share, right?
Exactly.
What's Sally feeling like now?
It's amazing just to see her face when we do our Zoom sessions. You can see a drastic physical difference, but she's more confident. She's more excited. She has a bigger vision than even when we started. She's feeling really empowered, and she's building out her beta course right now and getting ready to launch it probably within the next 60 days.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
And isn't that what we coaches live for, or for our clients to have that kind of reaction after you get them started?
Yes. It's kind of like raising a child, and you get excited by their achievements and their accomplishments. And I can't wait every week to be her cheerleader.
Yes, how exciting. And when is her course due out?
I think we're looking more like September 1st, like at the school year, so that it times in with the children going back to school.
And how rewarding for the kids that really need that little extra help and support to be able to get on their path.
Yeah. You got to get them young and teach them their own mindset and their own visions of what they can accomplish too. And that's what she's going to do in her program.
Well, and she might want to do that for, all the other kids, because today kids are certainly not on the best path they can be on in in general, the bigger numbers of the kids.
Yeah, I think it's a struggle just across the board for everybody, from teachers to parents to the children, trying to figure out what new normal looks and feels like.
Well, and we just live in such a new world today that we just have to rely on people like your client to help those who need that little extra support, whether they have the learning disabilities, and the kids that don't have learning disabilities that do have learning disabilities.
Right.
So when you're working with your clients, I know that you do have a really kind of one-on-one and personalized transformational coaching program that you work them through, that you walk them through. What are some of the challenges that you find a lot of your clients have?
Well, everybody has different needs, and as I coach them through them, there's three that really kind of always kind of bubble up to the top. And the first and foremost is mindset, right? Because I believe that your mindset creates your reality. Your feelings and your emotions are going to manifest your reality, right? So positive or negative feelings, that's what's going to manifest in your reality. And so the three main areas that I find myself addressing the most of is mindset, and then clarity, which is clarity around everything. I always say with clarity comes direction. So it's clarity about what you offer. It's clarity about what your truth is and what you believe. It's clarity about who you help. And then it's in the bottom, like the underlying third bullet really is all about self-worth and charging our worth, and knowing that we are that we are the experts and that what we charge is fair for both sides of the house.
Let's start a little bit. Let's start the conversation off about mindset. This is something that Cindy and I spend a lot of time with as well. You said earlier that your mindset creates your reality. How often do you see when someone comes to you that's their first kind of big stumbling block?
Everybody. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner, if you're 25 years in corporate, if you're making six figures or more a year. Mindset is the foundation, because when you think you've fixed one belief, or you've rewritten a truth, your new truth, when you get to that next level, it sometimes rears its ugly head again, right? So if you're just coming out of corporate, you're having self-worth issues, and you go in to be an entrepreneur, you're still having self-worth issues. If you make that barrier at six figures and you're trying to break the seven-figure barrier, now you're trying to figure out, what's my worth now at seven figures? So,
that just reminds me, when I was in corporate America managing teams of people, my managers would come in with the sour face, and they were all stressed out because they had issues to deal with. And I said, as a manager, your job is problem solving. And the same is true with business owners, but I think sometimes the folks forget that that's why they have a job and that's why they have a business.
Right.
When you start off with someone working on their mindset, do you start first with values, or do you start with thoughts about who they are, or thoughts about what they're doing?
Really, the first thing I do is I work with them to describe what their vision is, and their like where's their end destination, right? Because if we know where we're going, we can define the blueprint or the map to get there. And a lot of times what I find is that they are limited in what they can imagine the possibilities are because of the experiences they have. So in Sally's case, when she came to me and we met, and she had this vision, and it was a lovely vision. It was, by all intents and purposes, a great vision. But what I showed her was, hey, did you know you could do this? And then we could do this. And then this is even bigger. So like, her little box was limiting her. She didn't even know there was another choice in a bigger box and a bigger vision. And she told me later that's why she signed on, is because I had a bigger vision than she did. And she could see it when I could articulate it.
Anyone that's listening today, definitely, I think that's a really huge point to hit on. That wherever you are today isn't necessarily where you're going to have to stay forever. You're going to have the opportunity to create something much bigger, much greater, something that's going to really make you happy and something you can be proud of. I think that's tremendous for people, Michelle.
Right. I think we all, a part of us, we want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to leave a legacy, we want to, do better for our children than what we had as growing up, right? And so knowing that you're enough is a hard mindset thing to get through. And that's what we work through at every step of the way.
As you work with people with their mindset, do you also find that they worry about what they're able to accomplish based upon what their skill set is?
Yeah. We always have this preconceived notion that we're not smart enough, we're not credentialed enough, we're not old enough, we're not young enough, right? The enough in quotes. And I was reading in a book this morning, and this quote jumped out at me, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but basically is, God doesn't call the equipped or the qualified, right? He qualifies the called, right? So
I love that.
It's important to know that where you are right now today, you are enough for what you need to deliver and create and build today.
And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment on the Imagine More Success radio show.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com. The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howell will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
Path Home Shamanic Art School has just launched a new online series of classes, Galactic Shamanism, Art of the Ancients, Key to Tomorrow. In these classes, composed and taught by Path Home founder and director Gwilda Wiyaka, you'll learn practical shamanic skills to support your daily life, such as how to build a medicine wheel to access the power of the earth, perform a shamanic journey, create sacred space in which to live and work, empower your life with totem animals, elementals, and fairy folk, and learn the art of accurately reading signs and omens. These tried and true skills are the key to living a powerful, productive life. Visit us at findyourpathhome.com to see the ever-growing collection of classes and leading-edge information to support you during these times of uncertainty and transition. All can be found at findyourpathhome.com.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. Just as we left off in the last segment, we had a really beautiful word of wisdom from our guest today, Michelle Guarjardo, who is helping her clients turn their passion and their purpose into profits. Just then when we were ending, you had a beautiful point of wisdom that you were sharing with us. Michelle, please go ahead and enlighten us with that again.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that God doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. So what this means is that wherever you are right now today, you are enough with where you are today. And when you go in tomorrow, you're going to have and be enough for tomorrow, and so on as the days go on. You will always be equipped with what you need for that day.
You know, that is such a comforting words to hear, and I think that it really speaks to so many people. I know that no matter what particular genre you're in or what task someone's undertaking, very often they just don't feel like they know enough to do what they want to do or have enough, or there's always some sort of roadblock. But it's so comforting to hear that, and I really hope that lands on a lot of people's ears today and really touches their heart.
I hope so too.
Michelle, when you're talking about helping people turning their passion and purpose into profits, one of the methodologies that you use is actually helping them to build and create courses. Take a moment to walk us through why that's such an important component to building the profits you're talking about.
So, e-learning, the whole market of e-learning is a $330 billion industry, right? And everybody, I believe everybody has something that they're passionate about, something that is that they can teach someone else or mentor someone or help them through. And the e-learning market allows them to bring their passion and purpose in a way that they can reach the global market. People can then take the courses and consume the content at their leisure, on their schedule, at their pace. And online content allows you to do that.
And really, that also is giving people the opportunity to kind of formulate their own self-education as well, right? Kind of determine what's important to them to learn.
Yeah, yeah, and in today's world, when everything is going virtual, it's more and more we're self-paced, we're doing self-learning, and then there's community built around that. But really, we're having to take the reins to do our own education, and this is just, coming into play as we roll out 2020.
And don't you find that most of the courses that are coming out are coming from people that have the experience and background, the experiences to teach these classes instead of what you get in a lot of mainstream courses, which is theory?
Yeah, I think so. And I talk about this in what I call a bridge of transformation, which is like the stepping stones or the pathway of where we have gone as leaders and entrepreneurs, and where we are guiding our ideal clients and our students through them. And because, like you said, we have that practical experience, we have the stories that support it, we have the analogies, we have the examples, and people are looking up to us and saying, wait, if you've done this, I know I can do this. Or you've done this and you're where I want to be, and now you can help guide me there.
Exactly. And then they get so excited because then they know their vision is going to come to fruition, right?
Yeah, there's a script. I'm not a scriptorian, but there's a scripture that says where two or more reside, there is God, right? And for me, God and the universe are the same. So I always feel like if there's more than one person that's holding energy and excitement and emotion for your vision, that just energizes and amplifies that vision and gets everybody excited about it.
It's like the crystal stone, right?
Yeah, that good old quartz
That's
crystal.
really cool.
Yes, yes. And don't you find that the clarity with all of what we just talked about really brings it home for your clients?
Yeah, I feel too, it's like a sense of, oh, wow, you mean I don't have to market to the 400 billion people on this earth? I can just like really niche down, and I can really talk their language, and I really can solve their problems that they're having right now. I don't have to feel like I have the burden of every single person that's in that niche.
Yes, that would be
Let's
a
talk
very
about
expensive marketing bill.
Yeah, seriously. Let's talk about that a little bit, because you talked about clarity as being one of your three components that you often have to help your clients with. Take us through, let's just imagine that someone that's listening today just has a general idea that they'd like to create some kind of course that they'd like to sell, but they don't really have an idea yet of what they're going to do. That take us kind of through the overall concept of creating that clarity.
Yeah, so if they're getting nudged to create a course, and it works even like if you're going to write a book or have a one-on-one program or whatever, it's kind of like, where have you been as the person that can speak to the transformation, and what problem do you solve, right? Because the problem, once you've identified the problem, it helps to get clear on who the people are that are going to have that problem, right? Someone who's a millennial and who doesn't know anything about investment is going to have one kind of a problem, whereas somebody who's 25 years in their work and they've got a 401k, their issues around investment are going to be different, right? So that's why I'm saying, when you know who you're going to, what your solution is, then it helps you define who you're going to market to. And the other thing that most people don't talk about when they talk about niching and really clarifying who their ideal client is what motivates that person to purchase. right? We talk about where do they live,
Yes.
how much money they make, what's their education, but what is the motivation, right? So like my client Sally, you know, her ideal client are parents. Parents will do anything and pay almost anything to help their children be successful in school, to give them that level up that they need to be, thriving members of society, right? So she knows what's motivating the parents to whip out their credit card, but she speaks to the value, she speaks to the solution that she's offering these parents. And by the way, her solution doesn't just help the student. She's built in the guidance that the parent needs for their own mindset, for their own belief that they're enough, and their own strategy that they can use to help guide that student.
That's a great concept about getting the clarity around that initial idea. I love that. I haven't heard a lot of people actually talk about that, about the reasons why people buy. I've heard of this, and I'm misnaming the event, but essentially within the last 10 years or so, with the invention of the smartphone, people have changed the way they purchase things. Instead of just finding something they like and buying it, they then go and obviously like research, review, look at reviews, things like that. How does that play into the idea of creating your niche product?
Yeah, so people buy because other people have bought, right? They have that FOMO, like, well, if so and so bought it and they think it's good, then it's going to work for me too, right? So what I'm working with Sally is to validate what she thinks as a credentialed 25 years of experience in a classroom teacher, what she thinks the real problem of a parent is. She's going to validate that with a beta run. And part of the beta run means that she's going to receive testimony back from these parents who've gone through the course with her and give feedback, right? So they're building it kind of with her, but they're giving their testimony as payment. And she's able to then use the testimony and say, look, I have real life parent Jim and Mary and son Stephen, and I have real life, Mary and Tom, and you know what I mean? Like she's being able to collect that where people will see, wow, if that's a real parent and they have the same problem, maybe I can have the same solution.
I see that. That's, I think one of the big stepping stones for a lot of people when they're getting started in this area is that they feel like maybe it's crowded or other people have already made courses, and that they, why is their opinion validated, or why does it matter? Why should they create a course? What do you tell people when they run into that?
To me, as soon as you started asking that question, I kept hearing the word mindset. Like, I'm not enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have credentialed enough. Why would anybody listen to me, right? And so as an entrepreneur, I even struggle with mindset, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not the expert. I have my own coaches that help me with that. But one of it is, it's like, if you're being called to do it, it goes back to that, right? God does not call the equipped. He equips the called, right? So if you're feeling nudged to do it, what makes you different? What's your unique selling proposition that make you different? Because you may say something in a way that only this group of people are going to understand. And those are the people that are your ideal client. Whereas the influencer over here who's just spouting words, they don't connect with. But the way you deliver it, the way you build it, the way you use analogies and examples in your life experiences is what's going to connect you to your clients, to you. And my question back to them, if not you, who and why not you?
Well, and that's really the hammer hitting the nail on the head with, you have to connect with the coach you select.
Yes.
Because there has to be that safety net where people can feel like they can say they have issues with their self-worth, which is maybe we can spend some time in our next segment on the whole self-worth thing, because I mean, that's huge.
Right.
Yeah, when we come back, we are going to talk about that. We are going to talk about self-worth. We've had some really great conversation around clarity, and we're kind of getting into that deeper area where we're learning more about turning your purpose and profits and your purpose and passion into profits. We're going to touch on that more in the next segment, and obviously in the fourth segment today, we're going to have a great gift for you as well. So do stick around. Today we're spending time with Michelle Guarjardo, and when we come back, we're going to get into it even more on the Imagine More Success radio show.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships, not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com, $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. You know, we've been having a really great conversation today about turning your passion and your purpose into profits. This has been a really, really fun day for us because this is hitting on a lot of topics that Cindy and I spend our days helping people with as well. So it's, it's nice to have another perspective and to really hear, that a lot of what we've seen is not something that only we've seen. Does that sound good, Cindy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure our listeners can relate too, because whether you have a job, you work at home with your family, or you have a career, I mean, all this is relative.
Yeah, and today's guest that we're spending time with is Michelle Guarjardo. She is currently a teacher, a coach, intuitive mentor for spiritual women entrepreneurs. We do want to mention that she also has 20 plus years experience as a corporate IT project manager, instructional designer, and trainer. And she's actually taken these very corporate skills and combined them with her intuition and spiritual practices. And that's a big reason why she's able to help people really find their path when it comes to creating a profitable business from the things that are really important to them. Michelle, as we continue the discussion today, we wanted to hit on the topic of self-worth, because you mentioned that as one of the three things that you work with Sally, and something that comes up with a lot of your clients. Take us through your concept of self-worth and where you begin.
Yeah, the self-worth, what I found is most clients don't use that language. They don't come and say, "Hey, I need a coach because I don't know how to do self-care, self-love, and I don't think I'm good enough." Like it
Right.
doesn't come out straight like that, right? It you hear it in the language that they use. You hear it when they start to think about and talk about their fears and how those are triggered and what's coming up. And so self-worth is really based on things that we've heard, experiences we've had. Some of it we borrow from the collective, like um, all kinds of things like, oh, women can't do that, or men can only do this, and oh, you're too young or you're too old. Those are inherited from the collective, right? But we
Mhm.
also inherit them from the people that raise us and the people that teach us. I can think back to certain events in my childhood that still at my age are playing that same story and song like a skipped record in my head. And so all of those together will have an effect on where we think we are enough, or if we have self-esteem or self-worth.
And don't you find that really holds people back, and how we can really catapult them into their future?
Oh yeah, the fear is real, you know, and feeling like they're chained and they can't take that step. But if they can look at whatever is creating that fear or that belief, and step back and say, is that really my truth? Like if you say, oh, I'm bad with money, or I never can balance my checkbook, is that really true? Do you never balance, or have you never balanced your checkbook? It's not a universal truth, right? So like for Sally, we started to lay out what her value offer would look like, and she said, I don't know if I can charge that much. And I said, why do you think that? She says, I don't think I'm worth it. I don't think anybody will pay for it. And I said, wait a minute. I said, how, what do you have, like, credentialed wise? Like, let's really just get to this. And I said, do you have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree? She goes, oh, like flip it. She says, I have two bachelors and I have a master's degree. And I'm just like looking at her like jaw dropped on the floor. And I said, and how many years of experience do you have in a public school classroom? Oh, over 25. And I said, okay, hold it right there. First of all, sweetheart, you do have the credentials. Like you have the paper, you've spent the money, you've spent the time. And I said, I really, so I kind of coached her through it. And one of the things I challenged her to do was to go get her diplomas and hang them on the wall in front of her desk. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
every time you think you are not enough, every time you think you do not have the credentials or the experience or the knowledge or the wisdom, I want you to go and I want you to raise your eyes and I want you to look at what it took to get those 3 degrees. I said, you have all of the experience of working with these children for 25 years. You've heard their stories. You've seen their successes. You are more than equipped. You are more than enough. And so I just kind of had to, what I call, talk her off the ledge and really show her that her truth was she did have the credentials.
That's exactly
Yes.
what Cindy did for me years ago.
I was here chuckling, Thomas.
I was like, boy, that sounds familiar.
Now, Thomas, did you get them up on the shelf yet?
Absolutely, yeah. They're on the wall now, yeah.
Now, you see, that is a wonderful thing for all of our listeners out there to do. So, whatever accolades you've received, even if it's a card with somebody complimenting you on something that you did for them, put it out for you to look at every day. These are words of wisdom from a wonderful coach that's helping someone help disabled kids. So
Yeah.
be sure you put that stuff out there and look at it and feel those great feelings of accomplishments like Michelle's sharing with us today.
Yeah, celebrate them all, big or small, right? And I want to share something. I don't know how many people know this, but Tony Robbins, who is like the highest paid coach, most sought out coach in the world, has no coaching certificate.
That's correct. I've heard
I
him
don't
say
think he's
that.
got much education either.
No, but he's done his own inner work. He's done his own growth, and he's been able to do this transformation and teach it and all of these things. So he's built his reputation and his credentials with the work he's done.
With the results.
Well, his education was very different, because I don't know books, but he went to the bookstore and library and read about all the other motivational gurus and learned from the best guys. And actually, I think, was it Jim Rohn he worked with?
Yes. Yeah, I think that you're right. Yes. Yeah. So I want to, I know we didn't really talk about this, but there's an exercise I want to challenge everybody else to do. And I call it the love me compliment. And it doesn't matter if you put it on your bathroom mirror, if you journal every day, if you put it on your phone, but every day write a compliment to yourself as if your best friend was complimenting you, and sign it love me. So I put a big old heart, and I always write like, oh, your hair looks great today. Or you were really good on that interview. You were really concise. You were really in service, like whatever that looks like. And it doesn't have to be long-winded, just something to remind yourself how awesome you really are and how enough you really are.
Ooh, I love that.
And so many people really are, there's so many great people out there that don't even know how fantastic they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a really good advice for so many people right now, because, man, we're in the thick of it right now. This is one of the most difficult,
challenging
times for people, really, in recent history. I mean, all these studies are being done. There's more unhappy people than ever right now. I think there's a lot of people feeling hopeless. I think a lot of people that feel a lot of fear around the future. And, it's really hard to move when you're feeling so stuck, especially when you feel so bad about yourself or about where you are compared to where you want to be.
Yeah. And I will tell you, I started my spiritual journey 6 or 7 years ago after I left corporate. And there's two things that I really give credit for changing my life. The first was a daily routine, and it can be whatever you want, but I always spent time with me and in my thoughts and in my connection to source. And the second thing was gratitude. It doesn't matter if you put one thing or 100 things on your gratitude list. If you can find a way to be grateful for a blessing you have, you will spend more time in gratitude than you will be in woe is me, look what I don't have.
Well, it takes a lot more energy to do the negative besides.
Yes.
So those are great ideas for people out there to jump on the gratitude wagon and be sure to connect to whoever your person is that you have in your life.
I know we're jumping a little around today, but something that did strike me that you were talking about is morning routine. Tell us a little bit about not just how it's important, but really why it's important to you and what your morning routine looks like.
So my morning routine has really evolved over the course of the last 6 or 7 years. And really what it involves is me just being with me. Like I get my coffee. Sometimes I'm reading a book. Sometimes I'm journaling. Sometimes I'm doing spiritual practice work, like, with my crystals or whatever. But the point is, whatever works for you, whether it's morning or evening, is to find 10 or 15 minutes where you can just connect to your inner whispers, to the universe or God, whoever you resonate with, and ask, what is possible today?
Yay, I love that. So before we get out of time, Michelle, I would love to hear what your special gift is for our listeners.
Oh, I'm so excited to bring this to your listeners. It's what I call my Bridge of Transformation. And you can get it by going to tinyurl.com/bridge of transformation and the number 2. It's all one word. And it's for those spiritual entrepreneurs who are really trying to work on their niche and get that really clear about their niche, and to lay out the 5 steps of the transformation that they bring to their clients.
Ooh, love that. And again, tell us what the website is again. tinyurl.com/bridge of transformation and the number 2. Beautiful. We want to just tell you to stick around for a few minutes. We'll be right back with the next segment of the Imagine More Success radio show.
Mission Evolution is dedicated to the well-being of the planet and animals, as well as the evolution of humankind. One major factor threatening all three is increasing toxicity. Heavy metals and other environmental toxins are poisoning our bodies, deteriorating our brains, blocking our spiritual connection, and shortening our lives. Yet these poisons are extremely difficult to remove. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, and I recently became aware of a product created from the marriage of nature and nanotechnology called Vitality. It's formulated from zoolite, whose crystalline structure binds toxins, gently carrying them out of the body. The light is only as clear as the window through which it shines. Clear your body, shine your light into the world. Visit vitalityhappens.com for a 20% discount. Enter code PATHHOME.
What happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
The ancients knew what we have forgotten. In order to be empowered by nature, one must be aligned with the way life works. We've become increasingly disconnected from the earth and her cycles, to our extreme detriment. The medicine wheel ceremony is an ancient rite practiced by shamans worldwide to recalibrate their people with the powers of the universe. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, at the Galactic Shamanism Retreat this spring equinox, March 18th through the 22nd, in the beautiful Colorado Mountains. During this life-changing 3-day medicine wheel training, you'll learn to build and maintain your own cross-cultural shamanic medicine wheel to promote manifestation, health, and personal power. Empower yourself with the wisdom of the ancients. Contact Touch In at findyourpathhome.com or call 303-775-3431.
You're back on the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. We're so glad that you continued to join us today. If you are just getting started with us today, we are catching up with our guest, who is named Michelle Guarjardo. She is the founder and CEO of The Conscious Library. She is a spiritual teacher, a mentor, and coach who helps spiritual female women entrepreneurs to turn their passion and their purpose into profits. And one of the major methodologies that she does, that she utilizes in order to help people do that, is the idea of creating courses and selling them. And I tell you what, we've had a very fun-filled and information-filled interview today. We all thought we were almost done, but we have another segment, which is fantastic. I do want to encourage you to check out her free gift, which is, if you'd like to actually walk them through it again, Michelle, please.
It's tinyurl.com/bridge of transformation and the number 2.
And it's really about a download to help you really define who your ideal client is.
Right. To get clear on who your client is, and the 5 stepping stones of the value that you offer your client along the path of transformation.
What a true gem. People are going to love that.
Yeah, for sure. Michelle, how does your past IT experience help you in course creation? What is it that comes from that most people don't have?
The thing that I think, there's two things. First of all, as a certified project manager, I am OCD, list maker, very organized, very structured, kind of repeating templates. The second thing that I think that is missing a lot from a plethora of courses is that not knowing who your client is or how they consume content, they don't understand that, so they're just kind of throwing things together. So the thing that I bring is the understanding of adult learning principles, and how do you apply adult learning principles to your course content, so that whether they're auditory or visual or kinesthetic learners, those are other ways that you know more things about your ideal client, and that when you meet them where they are, they become more successful because you already know more about them.
I've heard people talk about that, but how do you actually go about figuring that out for a major demographic rather than an individual?
Yeah, so for me, the proverbial they always say you are your client 2 to 3 years ahead. Like where you are is where you were 2 to 3 years behind. So for me, and also based on the generation that you speak to, like Gen Y, the millennials are very much auditory. They want fast, they want videos, they want on the fly. Gen X, they're more, let me have it in writing. Let me have a traditional newsletter. Let me have the text. And if I want to watch the video, I can, right? They want something tangible that they can hold in their hand, like a PDF. So for me as a course creator, I always cover all of them, right? So I make sure there's an auditory option, a video, there's text, there's always some kind of a handout or a download that they get. And if you can gamify it, what you teach,
That's it.
That's the kinesthetic piece of it. And that's where the human element of competition comes in, and they'll be wanting to make sure they're on the leaderboard or they're ahead of Johnny or Susan.
Little old-fashioned American competition.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Does seem to go a long way. Earlier in the previous segment, you were talking about your morning routine and how it had changed over time, but you'd also mentioned that gratitude is a really important part of staying centered and beginning your day and staying on point. Kind of take a moment to speak directly to the listeners and give them some idea of how they can really focus on gratitude and how to really see gratitude in their own lives.
Yeah, so the first thing I will say is don't look at it as, oh crap, it's one more thing on my to-do list. How am I going to fit it in? So everybody goes to the bathroom at least 5 to 10 times a day. So put a journal in the bathroom. And while you're there, write one thing. And
journal in the bathroom.
Start with the toilet paper. Start with the running water. Start with the AC if you live in Texas like me. Start with the easy stuff. And then, try other things, like you're thankful for the neighbor, or you're thankful for there was bread at the store, like whatever that looks and feels like. I
got to stop and jump in for a second. Yeah, it's funny. I was laughing. I was sort of thinking how many people 2 months ago could have journaled that they were grateful just to have toilet paper in the bathroom.
Right.
Couldn't find any. Yeah, and the idea of finding what you like at the store.
Boy, I guess we Americans figured out what nobody wants to run out of.
I tell you what, it's just hilarious. When I hear these are not things that people would have necessarily written in a gratitude journal 6 months ago. It's funny how a little time changes that.
I've been using that analogy for 5 years. Like I've been telling people for 5 years, put it in the bathroom and start that with the number one thing you're grateful for.
Oh my gosh.
And don't beat yourself up, right? Your journal's not supposed to be pretty, perfect spelling, perfect writing. Don't just love yourself through it. Give yourself some extra grace. If you miss a day, then just pick up where you left off.
I think that's really great advice for a lot of things.
Yes.
I think so many people, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think we're so hard on ourselves, right? Oh, we didn't get the job. We didn't get the promotion. We didn't get the house. We didn't get this. We didn't eat right. We forgot to walk. Like, oh my God, we're exhausting with all of the negative self-talk, right? All of the things that are feeding our subconscious. That's where I was talking about, like, we're inheriting those beliefs and those stories. So where can you love yourself through it with your love me quote? Where can you be grateful for the fact that your kid ran from school and hugged you and told you thank you? Like, any little bit to be grateful for. Just love yourself extra through it.
Yes. Well, not to jump around again, Thomas, but
Do it.
some of our listeners may not understand what gamified means, because it's a relatively new concept in business and in corporate settings. So maybe you could explain your version of it a little bit, Michelle, so folks would have a little understanding, because they're like, learning courses? What the heck is a game doing in there?
Yeah, so gamify is just, how do you make it fun to cement the learning, right? So could it be like a leaderboard as to who's, like a quiz, or could it be like a printed actual game board where you've put your course in, a physical game that you can touch? Where can you make cards that go with your course? Like, not everything is gonna use the same gaming technique, but think about, like, when we used to go to in-person classes, and we'd have those activities where we had to tell 2 truths and 1 lie, and they had to, like, that's a gamification technique, right? Like, how are you getting people involved to cement their learning so that they've understood whatever it is that you're teaching?
So having an experience around learning, not just kind of old-fashioned information in. Hopefully information stays and then can come back out.
Yeah, they remember how you make them feel, not what you told them, right? There's a quote about that. Yeah, I butchered that. Sorry about that.
That reminds me of some of the stuff we used to do when we went to business retreats.
Yeah. There's
Michelle,
so much. Go ahead, Thomas.
I was really fascinated by the name of your company, and I wanted to hit on this earlier, but tell us a little bit about the idea of the Conscious Library.
So the Conscious Library started out, we always knew we wanted the word conscious, right? It's all about awareness and spiritual consciousness and the collective. And the idea is I always say, if Mind Valley and Hay House had a baby, they would call it the Conscious Library, right? So if your listeners know who those sites are. But basically, it's the old-fashioned local bookstore where you could get a coffee, you could get a book, you could get a calendar, you could get music, whatever you needed, it's all in the library. And that's where the Conscious Library came. It was the one-stop resource for spiritual people on their quest, that they knew that they could come for trusted content and trusted sources and trusted teachers. That's
beautiful. I mean, speaking of Hay House, I was literally just thinking about Louise Hay yesterday. So I picked up one of her card decks that I have.
Yeah.
And what an amazing contribution to the world, and really a great example of someone who did exactly what you're talking about. Someone who created things just where she was, and she didn't wait for anyone else's approval. She just started small and grew and grew and grew. And what started off as just a small book to begin with, grew into this gigantic company that spread her message, and a positive message that was really life-giving all around the world. And it just started off with something really small. And I don't know that she could have ever envisioned when she was starting that that's what would have happened. But it's a great example of what you're talking about today, of what's possible.
Right. And her book, Heal Thyself, I don't know if that's the correct name, but that was the very first spiritual book I ever read. And that really solidified your feelings and your emotions will make you sick, and your feelings and emotions will heal you. And so that book was really the cornerstone of my spiritual journey, even before I understood what it all meant, is that what you think about yourself will manifest in physical illness.
Powerful words indeed.
Yeah, she's definitely the mother of all spirituality.
Yes.
Well, we had a fantastic time today with Michelle Guarjardo. We want to thank you for joining us today. We want to encourage you to check out some of our past episodes at imaginemoresuccess.net. And if you'd like to check out some more of Michelle's work, go to theconsciouslibrary.com. And we want to thank you so much for joining us. We want to encourage you to always realize your dreams and to imagine more success.